history, just so that you know who we are. So Hoselton is a 50-year-old company, and we've created aluminum sculptures since the late 1960s. It was started by my father and my uncle, Carl and Gordon, and they started it as a retirement project because both of them had run fairly large businesses themselves and were ready to sort of downsize and retire. Well, we all know where that happened, and of course they didn't retire, and here we are today. Research Casting is an amazing company that are world-renowned, known for restoring or replacing, I guess, dinosaurs. And so just as you would imagine, like large, very large, lifelike bone dinosaurs, and many other projects that are sort of in that realm. Really nice folks, good company. Peter May, who is the owner of the company, they called me and they said, we're wondering, we got a call from Queenie Business and you do their awards. And they asked us if we would do their awards. And then we got to thinking, well, maybe we could do their awards and maybe we could do Hoselton. And how would you like to come and do sales and marketing of Hoselton? I went, well, that's my dream job, right? Like, you know, like sales, number one, and number 1 and 0.5 is Hoselton. I love Hoselton, of course. So I was like, yes. And right away I had a great connection with them, and this thing called a pandemic hit.
No.
Right when we were just getting all the equipment in and clients, the orders were starting to flow nicely, and I could say, hey, you know, I can really see this, and I gave them projected sales and all of this, and we got closed for over 10 weeks. We couldn't get the ministry to come in and approve our equipment until July. So we only just got approvals, because they couldn't do site visits. We just got approvals, and we've just been nicely running probably the last 4 weeks. And so now we have 6 dedicated people to Hoselton, whether that's production management, pouring, sales, whatever. There's 6 dedicated people right now, and we're just rebuilding it back in. So we have to be creative. We have to look at new ways of doing things. And for myself, as many of you know, Rotary's been a large part of my life. For those of you who don't know, my father, Gord Hoselton, he was a Rotarian. I think he started in the early 70s when he first pretty much came to Colborne after being in Camborne. One of the things, and specifically for Brighton, is that it happened to be coincidental that it was my first year with the company, that he was president of the Colborne Club, and they started the Brighton Club. So that was in 1989. Yeah. 88, they kind of started his plans because he took over, of course, July 1st. So his district governor was Duncan Lyle, and the fellows that he worked with out of the Colborne Club were Archie Ward, and I believe it was Duncan Glennon. So the 3 of them with the district governor, and then all the founding members of this club got it going in 1989. So there was Dan, of course, and Charlie Churchill, I believe, and Bob Brighton, and pardon? Jack McFadden, and Gary Cooper at the time? So Gary Cooper, they said a lot. There was Dave Sharp probably, and there was a lot. Al Roneberger, and there were some many fine people that really were founding members and are members maybe even other communities now. I know that Jens is out west, right? So I have a long history with this particular club, and Rotary in general I have also a long history with. And that's why I reached out to Joyce to partner with you to see if we could make a difference. And one of the things that I mentioned to Joyce, that particularly this club, forgetting all the other things I just told you were so great about this club, is that you already had a successful program working with a manufacturer called Tilly. Gord Andrews and his group were very successful in bringing that to the club, and then you guys made a lot of money for a lot of years. And it was really helpful, and you know, you got known for that, and it was quite a successful adventure. This is what brings me to this. So I just want to show you that I brought it in Rotary colors. We can do gold. And of course, Rotary colors again. And what I brought was an ornament. The reason I chose ornament is that it's versatile. So if people want to hang it from their window, if people want to hang it from their car, if people want to put it on their tree. It's not, it doesn't have to be unless it's a Christmas symbol, Christmas stocking or something, it doesn't have to be Christmas. It can appeal to a wide variety of people. And the reason I chose that is this year particularly, and going forward for I don't know how many years, I think people are going to be looking to more Canadian-made product that are perceived high value, that have good reputation, and that's going to fit their budget. Because people, no matter whether they have a little bit of money or a lot of money, they want something at different times a year to give to their loved ones, to give to their friends. And this symbol of a decoration, I believe, would really help fit that bill. Now, just to let you know, the stats are, not just this year, but prior years, one of the hottest things to sell is ornaments, particularly at Christmas time. So that's why I kind of chose that. But it's not limited to this. There's many different ways to sell product. For the tech savvy, there's a couple of different ways with Facebook and online stores and that. I'm just myself coming more into that sort of realm. But what I was thinking of to sort of set the foundation for Rotary was you've already supported an organization in town, which was a very successful event in my opinion, with the rib night. And we had 6 dinners at our place and we thought they were delicious. It was just awesome. So there's other stores or organizations that could also benefit by help from the Rotary Club. So what I'm suggesting is that whether it be the DBIA or Chamber of Commerce or individual stores or other things, that you could partner with them and they could also help be the facilitator of sales. So they could have it in their location to drive traffic saying, oh, if you wanted a Rotary ornament, you have to go to XYZ company or these 3 stores, but there's just so many ways of being able to facilitate sales. And the other thing that I was thinking about was sustainability and relevancy. So I wouldn't want to look at this as a one-time shot. I would want to look at this as almost a collection. So similar to Tilly hats, I think if I'm correct, maybe, and you can help me out, Jeff, that was maybe, I think it was 7 to 10 years window that they were successful for, and then they kind of went down, is that right?
Yeah, it strongly followed the US exchange rate, was an insight on that. And you're right, there were different hats available over that time.
Yeah.
It wasn't just the standard blue and gold, it rolled out with different vending, different styles.
Yeah. So there was some change even in there. And then it was kind of wound down. In my mind, I've got 3 to 5 years. I like 5, 3, no less than 3, because 1, you're not really creating a following. You're not creating a want to go forward. But by creating 3 to 5, it's a collection, right? What I would propose is that we would make a subcommittee, and then I would work directly with that subcommittee to make something that was beneficial to the club, because we also have to think about our time. You know, to do a project like this, and it does take time and effort and all of that. To make $1,000, probably be okay, but you're going to be like, well, that's okay. Well, I'd like to see that as a minimum that you would make. That would be my goal, or more, over like 1 year. I would like to see that even increasing. But that is something that we could develop as a group. would not be limited to this. If there was something else that you would be interested in, we're looking also at creating for you. I didn't really realize I was an artist. I always never promoted myself as an artist, and I'm not promoting myself as an artist. What I am is a problem solver. So if there's a need for a different kind of thing, I was thinking like a lighthouse or an apple, something that's relevant to the club, relevant to the community, that then we would design something that would fit into that kind of idea that you may want. One of the things I thought would be really cool was to have a contest and get the community involved in developing, even if it was one out of the 3 or 5 or whatever that meant for you. And I can help you with that. I chose to be a judge with the Senior Olympics that was hosted in Northumberland. And so I kind of have some experience on how we could roll that out and what it could look like. And we had a good 25 submissions, so it was quite nice. So I kind of didn't want to come here with the full rolled out plan, because I don't think a one size fits all kind of program works. It has to be customized to what is good for the club, that makes sense financially with time-wise, and that you feel that you can get passionate about and get behind and believe in it. And so that's why I didn't want to come up with a canned program, because it really needs to be based on the club itself. One of the things that I think is important is to tell a story. So for every ornament or sculpture that we may do, we want to make sure that we customize a story of why that image, or why Rotary, why Brighton Rotary. So when that gets handed out, each one comes with a little story. So that for folks that would be buying it, they're helping Brighton Rotary, they're buying something they feel that would be really great as a gift for them to give out. But it personalizes it, that just makes it like a really feel-good story, and understand that where that money goes, whether it's the coats for kids, or other exchange students, or other projects that you have that are meaningful to the club. And then the last thing before I'd like to take some questions is sales history for Hoselton, and it's something in kind of like this. I can tell you that I did a Trees for Life project. I don't know if anyone knows our Trees for Life. Well,
Tell us.
We in 2007 actually, trees I felt were really meaningful, and so I worked with Peter Horton. I don't know if you know him, but Peter lives in Presque Isle, is one of Joyce's neighbors. Great guy, great family, and we worked together. And of course, he was the hands, and both of us kind of put our minds together on developing the Trees for Life. So it took a few tries and about 6 months, but he came out with this one tree, and I loved it. I just loved it. So we made multiple sizes of it, and we brought it out as a whole program for our retailers. And the way we launched it was really cool. We did it right on April 22nd, which is Earth Day. Sorry, it was Earth Day, excuse me. Concussion, sometimes that happens to me.
I haven't had a concussion, but it still happens.
I'm sticking with my excuse. So we rolled it in on Earth Day, and it was great because I had already one large organization that we worked with directly to use as their awards for that year, and we launched it that night. And that was the Packaging Association of Canada, and for their sustainability awards. And then, but during the day, we had a small gathering in Colborne at the Rotary Parkette across from the studio, and we planted a tree in honor of the studio, honoring my dad and my Uncle Carl. We had Leona Boyd come. She's a good friend of mine, and we had her down, and TV was there, and it was a really great day. It was a great way to roll out that project. So that's just one idea of kind of things, how we can roll out something in a big way. And then the other one is, you're probably interested in how many ornament sales we had. We have made literally thousands of ornaments of our, not this design, of our other designs. We have small little trees, we had stockings, we had stars and bells and snowflakes. We still have them. And we've sold thousands of them. So whether it was to a company that wanted to give out their, a little something to their staff or whatever, and quite often we've personalized it, or like Lorenz in Coburg, they did about 70 a year, and they would give them to their employees. I think we went 7 years or 8 years with them. Again, it's cyclical, right? So we went about 8 years with them, and that was their gift for their employees. So we've done thousands of these. I had nothing left over of ornaments to take for inventory to our next location, because we sold out in the first hour of our last open house on Thanksgiving weekend last year. I wanted to leave you with that. I'm happy to have any questions.
Would you just make one design per year, or would you have more?
Well, what I would like to see is that at least 2. And whether it be this one is this year and this one is next year, and then you can build on it, or if you're just starting next year, you can still buy back, or so that you can still collect your collection next year. But I think that would be up to the club, and because maybe you want to do a contest every year. I don't know, because that might be part of the whole program of it. I would like to see a minimum of 2 designs, or even if we could do all of them. But I think all of them is hard, because you want to be relevant to each year. So maybe something really cool happens next year, and you want to capture that.
So we could do a
in an
little
image.
COVID thing this year?
Well, actually, I actually doodled them. I did do a doodle one. I went, I don't know how many people would like to buy a journal.
It's a high risk, but.
How much is involved? The cost of
In the cost, we're depending on the size, because that's why I didn't want to limit you to a Christmas ornament. I didn't want to limit you to ornaments.
we take, for instance, that one.
This one here, we would look to sell it to you for $20, and then we would say to you, you sell it for what you can get.
Your reference spot.
Jan, I want to thank you for coming out this morning at this early hour and giving us your ideas on this, and I hope we can develop and work with you into something that's beneficial for all of us. And I think it's a great idea, and I think it has a lot of potential. So thank you very much for coming and telling us about this idea, and hopefully we'll raise a lot of money.
Thank you.
Thank you.